Let's fire away.
Well, Ola, welcome to Melbourne. What, in the end, made you make the decision to come down under to the A-League?
Well, thank you. After World Cup, me and my family was thinking about what we should do in the future, and it was the option to stay in France or go to the Middle East or go back to Scandinavia or go on an adventure. And we decided to go on an adventure, and got a 2-year contract here, and we're really looking forward to the adventure. And as I said in a lot of interviews, if I go on an adventure, I still wanna win something. So that was important for me, and this the whole situation was perfect for me.
What about the A-League makes it an adventure, like you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole process of getting the whole family here to Australia is a process itself, and adventure as well. And of course, the A-League, I think, has been stepping up the last couple of years. It's getting bigger in Europe as well, and the interest increasing. And to have the chance to play the Asia Champions League is a big part as well.
How did the deal come about, Ola? Who approached you? How did they sell the idea to you?
I have a friend in Holland. He's Ola Toivonen. We talk about it a little bit, and and then the contact was there, and
Did it take a lot of persuasion, because Australia is a long way from the football mainstream where you've spent all your career?
No, he didn't talk so much about it. He just asked me if I was interested about it, and I was interested. It's just the economy also need to be there, and my wife also need to be on board.
Ingela played in this league. Did he tell you a lot about the quality of this league?
No, we didn't talk so much about it. We just talk more about life standard in Australia and so on.
Can I ask you about your World Cup exploits? Because obviously that was only a couple of months ago. What's your biggest memory, your fond thinking of it?
Yeah, it was a great experience. I think the most memory I take is Germany beating us 2-1, and one teammate got a lot of racism abuse after the game, and we have a decisive game 3 or 4 days later against Mexico, and we did a terrific game, and we won 3-0 and advanced to the final 16. I think those 4 days will be in my memories for a long time.
Because of the abuse and the way you overcame it? Or?
Yeah, exactly. It's how we a group came together, and it really was one group, and did an amazing performance against Mexico.
Who got the racist abuse?
Drumas.
And from fans in Russia, from Russian?
No, from Swedish people.
From Swedish people? Right, is this area? Okay. So,
but I think mainly, the whole experience about the World Cup was something I'm going to take with me for a long time, and I managed to play 1 Euro and 1 World Cup for Sweden. I'm extremely proud about it.
And what about the goal you got? That surely has to be a highlight?
Yeah, of course. It's a childhood dream coming true. So it was nice. Unfortunately, we lost, but yeah.
Making the last 8 is a pretty big thing. I mean, when you look back at it now, do you think you could have done better against England in that game?
Yeah, for sure. But we know before every game we need to do a really good performance, and if only 9 of us are playing good, then we're not going to make it against the England team. And now we weren't good enough, and we were a little bit tired as well. So then England is too good for us.
Can you tell us about your conversations with Kevin and how he sold the club to you?
Oh, very honest conversation, I think. He told me his thoughts, and I said as well that I'm interested, but I need time in my decision. And you also need to have patience with the whole process from moving house to house and all the furnitures and like that. But I need to say a big thanks to him for the big understanding in the whole family situation.
Did the other moves that the Victory have made this off-season bring in the likes of SK Honda reassure you that this is an ambitious enough club, the type of club that's the right fit for you?
Yeah, of course. It's always important to look what the club is doing, and when I see what they have been doing during this off season, I'm extremely, how can I say, I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think you can bring to this club? I mean, a wealth of experience in Europe and at international level. Is that where you contribute most?
Yeah, I think so. Experience to the group. Some quality, of course. I know I'm a good player and having some high quality. So yeah, those two things.
And do you know much about the standard of the league? Have you watched it much? Or you didn't talk about it with Engela, you haven't talked about it with anyone?
No. It's more as I am as a person. I'll take it how it comes, and let's see. The most important is not how the league is. The most important is how the team is.
You have played a number of roles in your career, but a lot of the media the Victory have been putting out have clearly identified you as a striker. Are you comfortable with that being your main role this season, leading the line for the Victory?
Yeah, no problem for me. I like to be as a striker. I can play as a striker as a number 9, or I can play as a 2 striker. So no problem for me.
What about the pressure? I mean, everything we've just talked about, come back from World Cup, you've got KSK Honda in your team. Victory won the championship last season, so there'll be high expectations. How do you think you'll cope with that sort of pressure?
If you've seen during my careers and all the clubs I've been playing in, it's always high pressure, especially when I was in Holland, expecting to win all the cups and all the championships, so that's not a problem.
Any more? All good? Thank you, Ola. Kevin?
Kev, another really exciting signing for the club off the back of Honda and a couple of others.
It has been. It's been a very productive off-season for us. The transformation on where we ended up last season to where we are now has been huge. There's a number of areas in reviewing our campaign last year where we thought we'd had to change and try and improve, and I think from a holistic approach from right through the staff now to the final piece to the puzzle with Ola arriving last night and Raul on Monday night, we think we've done some really good business, and we're really excited about the season ahead.
You've obviously pushed the boat out, signed some well-known players. Yeah. Are you a bit disappointed other clubs in the league aren't following suit?
I haven't been paying attention, to be honest.
I mean, to lift the whole image and standards.
I haven't got an opinion because it's far from my responsibility. We obviously concern ourselves with what's important to us, and what we're doing at our football club is paramount and the most important thing. And yes, Ola arrives after a successful World Cup campaign, starting all 5 games for Sweden, scoring there also. Now it's about going away. We'll head across to the Sunshine Coast next week with a full squad and get down to some work.
What does he bring to the mix for you?
Yeah, again, I just think what we've done now also has created even more flexibility in our front third. Ola's scored goals in his career, and we've solely seen that recently in the World Cup. He can also drop a little bit deeper. He can occupy wider areas. So what it does is it creates some unbelievable competition for places, but give us some real flexibility.
Was it a hard sell, Kev, get him over the line? I mean, how did it come about?
Look, it started with a very early conversation immediately after the World Cup, and then obviously time went past. There was, we had representatives, and Ola's got his own representatives, so there was quite a few people involved in getting it done. And what I liked about this one was, all the questions were about. What we could do for his family and his wife and his 2 children in relation to schooling and all those type of things. So, right from the outset, I gathered what type of person we were signing.
Do you feel that lifestyle in Melbourne as a city was a really good sell?
Coming from Toulouse as well, we were a strong competitor in terms of lifestyle. but it does help that we as a club have got a process that we go through with players and make them feel comfortable right from the outset that all their needs and requirements will be handled, and no expense will be spared from that perspective. And then once we got down to it, Ola's wife Emma was comfortable that the kids were going to be in a good environment. It went pretty smoothly.
I know you don't want to compare teams, but I'm going to ask you anyway. On paper, how do you reckon this side compares to a championship winning team of last season?
I just don't understand it really, because we're our sole objective now is to pursue another championship, to pursue another title. So looking back and comparing or whatever you want to do, it's too difficult to do, and it's a totally new competition. And right at this point in time, regardless of anything else, where all 10 clubs are at the bottom of the mountain.
Ola just answered questions about his versatility before. I mean, where do you think you'll utilise him most this season? I mean, you've lost Bess, obviously. You think you'll most likely use him as a striker for the upcoming season? Well,
like I said, he can occupy that role, and he has scored goals. He can score goals. What we will do, we'll go away next week, as I said, away from here, where we can spend some serious time on the training pitch and have a look at some different combinations and work out what's best for all the individuals combined.
How frustrating is it that you sort of got knocked out of the FA Cup and that's not really around anymore to sort of help you prepare for that season up ahead? Still 6 weeks away.
Yeah, it's disappointing at the time. I'm over it now, and we'll look forward. And as I said, we'll worry about the things we can control. We'll make sure we've got enough preparation in games. The preparation will start next week for us with a full squad on the Sunshine Coast. Where, as I said, we can have a look at quite a few things. Yes, we've got some things in the back of our mind, but like I said, there's a number of players in that attacking third now where we've really got to work to make sure we can get the best out of all of them.
One of the things that was mentioned when you signed your contract extension in the middle of last season was a greater allocation of resources for scouting and recruiting that would be available to you. Are we seeing the fruits of that now, bringing the likes of Ola and Cascais and the like?
I think so. We've worked quite hard in the last 12 months in putting things into place. Not only here domestically, but the foreign spots, as we've seen with all the championship winning teams, are vital. So we've put some things into place, and there has been a real emphasis on that this off-season. And once again, we'll truly know that once we review all these things at the end of the season.
You happy with the way the pre-season's shaping though? Games against the Wanderers in Brisbane?
Yeah, we're still trying to cement a couple more. That's the difficulty. You play everyone 3 times during the campaign, and possibly once more in the cup, and then you want to play as many games against the NPL sides. That's even proving hard because with the number of games they've got themselves these days, and it's not easy. But we're comfortable in where we're at the moment, and we look forward to getting some more games.
Well, good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kev.
Cheers. Thank you.